you really are going to do what they call long haul multi-hop, when I say multi-hop, when the signal leaves an antenna, two things occur. Number one, it doesn't just shoot off into the nose. It actually is taking off at a specific angle. Now these antennas are known as rhomboids, and the reason they're called rhomboids is you take two antennas and you lay them inside of each other. You have a transmitter per antenna. Transmitter 1 up top, transmitter 2 slightly below. The reason for that is in the target area, the signal comes down as a hopscotch. That way you limit the total dead zones at target area. So it's kind of an expensive way to come up with these antennas are very long. I've always laughed, I live in a housing development. If you were to take that antenna and put a tower on one end and a tower on the other, it would drape over the entire housing development. Actually, that was one reason why what Scott was talking about, they wanted them out of it, because they were leasing people's front yards for dying anchors, not to mention the RFI was being created. So it gets up in the air, gets the ionosphere. If you look up here at the ceiling, you could say that's the ionosphere based on when the sun is shining on it. And have any of you today heard about coronal mass ejection skimming?
Yep.
You got any feedback on it? Have you heard anything about it? They call it a Carrington event in
1859.
1859. The teletype boys were getting sparks off their rigs. Now, according to what I'm hearing, and Scott heard it just during the last night, it was a very, they said 9 times the size of the Earth ejection off the sun that is hitting us now, today.
Yep.
Was it the 10th and 11th?
Yeah.
Oh, today?
So I don't know where we are in the,
I
time.
didn't look this morning. Yeah, they said it was pretty massive.
Pretty hot.
Yeah.
I saw it on the Space Weather website on Sunday, they were predicting. And I noticed that on HFMs on Sunday evening, I could hear it a little bit.
Starts grinding.
Yeah, and then I heard on 10 meters, sometimes it'll sound, like when you put your hand over your speaker and it's muffled and the band is muffled for a little bit, it warbles.
Side band.
Right, and then all of a sudden it comes back in, and that's what I was hearing on the band.
Well, the reason I brought that up is because up above us, about 400 miles, there's just enough atmosphere that when the sun hits it, it is ionized. And ionization is where basically the sun rays rip off ions from the particles. And it makes it look like a great big sheet of metal. So that when our signals go up, they plow into that. And one of the problems you have, of course, and it's very unpredictable in HF, is that that's going to raise and lower contingent upon the density of it, where it is. That's where, because it's changing your angle of downbeat. So shortwave is an interesting, it's a ham game. It's a wonderful ham game though, because it allows you to listen to people with very little power, virtually anywhere in the world. Now, if you don't believe it, listen to Saturday morning when they're doing contests or long haul. And you have 100 people over there piled up trying to find this one guy out there in the middle of the ocean. But that's how our signals are propagated. Well, so that's why we expanded everything. And this room was expanded back to that wall. There's another room which is now the studio. for recording. It was a studio for another radio station, WWFR. When you were down there on the coast, WWFR, we put that in 1990. It's on 91.7. That tower is in the nest where channel 34 and channel 25 are.
Mm.
You guys are, what?
Lantana,
714, is that the road?
Or no?
No,
Oh,
34 is in Stewart.
That's right, yeah,
Stewart.
okay.
What's the road, goes to I-95? Martin County Bridge.
Yeah.
That's where the tower for that particular radio station is. And it was to come from this studio. All right, so in the meantime, everything closed down. We extended this room, then extended all the way back. We'll see. It does have, I'll go over a few of the stats. It does have an uninterruptible battery backup system. It'll hold you about 10 to 15 minutes, but then the generator kicks in within 10 to 15 seconds. So once it kicks in, it takes over. That keeps Scott from having to go around and around.
Yes, let's not do that.
Reboot everything.
It's a real hassle. Periodic, since I've been back here, well, we changed the batteries out twice. They're just the little batteries.
Lead acid.
Lead acid, rack after rack after rack. And yes, they go bad. And you replace all, what do you look for?
Yeah, pretty. They smell.
And they'll blow open after a while. So that's what feeds this room, in the event of failure. Now, in the summertime, we've had, back in the
Yeah.
90s, there was a period of time when the jet stream came down from the center part of the United States, went out over the Gulf, and came back up over Florida. And if y'all ever seen super lightning, every afternoon, about 4 o'clock, super lightning would hit.
Yes.
And it's devastating.
You can set your watch by it.
You could set your watch by it, and you could also watch the fireworks out here in front of these transmitters. We had to tie, even though everything is grounded, we had to tie the floor metal strips and platforms out here to the transmitter because lightning would hit the antennas and literally jump right out the front of the transmitter. And one boy by the name of Stephen Budden, he was about to step up to do some tuning when the lightning hit. And it went, what?
Yeah.
And that's when we went ahead and just started grounding everything.
Was he all right?
Yeah, he didn't touch it. But you can hear it. You can hear it back, even with all of it, you can hear it back behind the transmitter. Bam! So, you got 600 acres of antennas. And does it blow up the poles out there? You gotta move. The best one so far is going out the driveway here. One of the poles got hit and 4 poles on either side were blasted. I mean, it just ripped the pole
Wow.
apart. Just,
What kind of construction was the pole?
Huh?
What kind of construction of
It
the?
just rips them apart, blows them apart.
Shiver me timbers.
Oh, it's just timber.
Yeah, they're just timbers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're just timber, it's like a cannonball.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's for the transmission lines.
yeah.
And it's just, so,
The moisture just
yeah, it.
blows up.
So, it's very difficult to keep this place cruising. There's a lot to it. Scott, what has happened, when I came here, we had to do reel-to-reel,
Yeah.
and I systematically replaced reel-to-reel with cassette. All these were cassettes, complete, all the way across and down.
Yeah.
In, I think it was 2 days, we literally had to rip out all the cassettes when computerization occurred. Since then, Scott has put in fact, we've replaced, basically all the computers, right?
Yeah.
We've had to replace, like, for all of you that know Windows 95.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
okay, well, you try to find the Windows 95 power supply or microprocessor card. Now, motherboard,
drive.
ain't gonna happen. That's over and done.
You should talk to him, he's got a whole garage full.
Yeah. You don't have a TRS-80 by any chance, do you?
No, I
Idiotic.
remember that a little while ago. But I still keep a 5 1/4 floppy just in case I ever need to read one. I don't have a machine that will plug into.
Have you memorized syntax error? Oh, I used to get so mad, it's like syntax error, give me a break, man. Is there any way to get into any of this stuff? Of course, there's the Commodore 64, Commodore 120. The reason I mention those is that's how it stepped into computerization for this place. You went step by step by step. And the whole game was memory. I guess all y'all know the micro miniaturization of memory, non-volatile memory has been the key to this broadcast facility and everybody else. You have to make it so that you put data in and it didn't disappear when the little battery died. From that point on, we now have all this up here, hours and hours and hours. Now, you can tell them what are we doing now? We've had a lot of trouble because of the location.
Yeah.
We don't have fiber optics. We had regular old
Twisted pair.
twisted pair
Way
coming up 441 out here.
They were giving us 5 megabits per second coming from CenturyLink, filled with errors. We couldn't keep it running. They wanted $600,000 to run the fiber optic and then charge us around $2,000 a month. So the manager, Jeff, was not thrilled about that plan. So we replaced it with, we had to think fast because we're in the middle of nowhere. So we went with Starlink. And the professional model, which has a larger footprint, but a greater number of phased arrays so that it can see through clouds most of the time. So this unit, it can handle the load. Originally, when we put it in, we bought a 1 terabyte of data per month. And, but it burned up because of the signal coming back in through the cable and destroyed the modem. So when we got the new one in, I put in ferrite magnets all along it, probably more than I needed to. And we also have two, AT&T 1 and AT&T 2 hooked up to the AT&T cellular tower right across the street, so we get a good connection to that. Now what we do is we're downloading that. We originally had here static IPs instead of dynamic, and we could set up our own downlink from the dial in, they would download their data, and then we were using a different program, the Radio Boss, and then we would pull it from the hard drive and put it out as an audio server. And but now we use hosted.ftp. They are located around the globe and they have very high bandwidth capacities, and then we stream them through the internet by file transfer protocol, FTP, live. And it's fragile because if you're coming in on a program, FTP, and it fails and I have to restart it, I have to start from the beginning. I cannot queue it up to where it left off. So we're investigating building a new system. We haven't done it yet, but we would like to, using Spider Radio, which then we'd have to build in the LAN and a server to pull in the data and to distribute it. No, 5.
We have to watch their watch, you know?
Yeah. So
Let's run on time.
So anyway, we're replacing the old system. We're going out. You notice right here, this is the Dynair. We just use that for bells these days. It's all outside the circuit.
This, all this was made here because we had to customize for our demand. In fact, this console was a little console I got here, really expanded. I didn't wire all of it up, maybe half of it, but.
Yeah, there's an awful lot behind the scenes.
There's a lot behind the scenes.
Yes.
We had some real good boys, but, frankly, they just came out of schools and colleges and, we start out with that.
No, yeah, so we're downloading through hosted.ftp, and then it comes FTP into us. We want to build a new system which will pull the information off of hosted FTP and deposit it on the hard drive. This is a more robust system because it's there on your hard drive. But we've been hit a number of times. Well, we got hit one time with ransomware. We were using the person responsible for it at the time had us on Microsoft Shield or whatever their antivirus is, which did not work. And they hit 3 of our units. Rather than try and rebuild them, we just pitched them. And we just rebuilt. Because we're pulling in the data every day, from one day to the next.
What do you have now for protection?
Bitdefender, which is the industry leader, which protects us.
Not AVG.
Yeah.
Right. So we give us notices that somebody at any time during the day is trying to hack into our system to break into it. It's a constant thing. So we don't have anything on the modem because, like I say, Starlink doesn't do that. Starlink is responsible for that.
What are you paying for Starlink?
Oh, I'm gonna guess at around $250 a month.
Believe it or not, it's cheap.
It's cheap, far cheaper. We were on Comcast.
Yeah,
That was $1,200 a month.
$250 a month.
That's all?
Yeah,
That's
because
all.
what he's saying, go ahead, tell him what we were paying for.
We were
Twisted
paying
Pair.
$1,200 a month for CenturyLink, and it was 5 megabits per second filled with errors.
And what's Starlink?
Starlink, well, it's virtually unlimited. We don't have it on.
What speed?
Oh, you can get anywhere from 60
Wow.
to maybe 120.
Wow.
And it's fantastic. It's been very reliable since we fixed the system. And we do work with the AT&T Wireless, but their towers get hits from time to time, and that knocks us down, causes mayhem. And then we use, you'll see right there on that screen, that is for the Kramer unit. That is 16 in, 16 out. So the operator can put any system on in half-hour segments that we designed on this for programming.
Okay, that, to explain what you're talking about, Kramer was made in Israel, and it is an audio switcher such that we can take audio from anywhere and put it to any transmitter.
Right. So if you download a program to us, I can take and put it on all 14 transmitters.
There's 2 layers, but
Right. And put it on there's the main and auxiliary. The auxiliary being a backup. And we can put it out to any of the transmitters and have done from time to time. So you can see the audio stacks there to your left and right. The transmitter computers there in the black boxes are no longer working. They are Windows 95, and so we retired them. We haven't pulled them out yet because they're wired in to the system. You see they each stack there, and pulling them out, you can lose the audio because they had the ability to cut off audio.
anything you do in this control room, you do it by at least 14.
Yes, 14 times.
And the computers, it's, how
Wow.
many computers? They
We have
always
11.
ask me, how many computers do you have? I
11. We have 11 audio servers, not including this guy right there. That's him. That just right there. You can see the screen right there. That just puts out our station ID.
We had to do a special
Yeah, I was
okay
going to
with,
mention that.
with Optimod.
The Orban Optimod there to your left. That's XPN. Yeah.
XPN-AM.
Yeah, it is. The guys gave it to us for free, and it turns out that was the right price.
Yeah.
It's hot off there for us. okay?
Yeah,
That's
so-
their newest, latest, greatest.
we had a lot of problems. Not the least of which was it was putting out DC. We only take AC off of our volume.
There is, what he's saying is on the output, and I do not know why, and I had to put some blockers in. And they won't listen to me, Bob, so I'll let them worry about it when somebody else complains, but for some reason, on the output, there's a DC writing on the audio going to the transmitter, which when you turn your levels up and down to the transmitter, they would go click, 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 click. Yeah, that's a no-no. Because transmitters don't like click clicks.
Yeah.
That's transient, and that's for all the transients.
Yes.
Very bad on electronic devices.
So this one compresses the audio. It tightens it up, it expands the range. The problem is that it also compressed the bass, and it gave us a ton of bass, and all of the people listening out there in shortwave were saying, we can't understand it. It's like, wah, 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 a little Charlie Brown thing. And so we had to get with the factory rep and decompress the bass and minimize the bass.
That's true. For some of you that know what the compression's all about,
Mm-hmm.
this is about the hardest thing I have ever seen. I mean, you could, as you brought the level up, you could come to 80%, and literally it wouldn't move past 80. In other words, there was no spikes, no transits, there's nothing.
You were
I
locked
mean,
in.
it was just like, came up here and brick wall, just boom, it just stopped. You could go down to 60 or up to 90, and it just stopped. Well, I don't know how they could, but as you were saying, the problem with that hard compression is it doesn't sound good on the air. I don't like it, and a lot of people think it's Wonder World. I'm telling them, no. When you're listening to a heavily compressed audio, it's tiring. It's just not good.
Yeah.
Are you limited in frequency range for, when you broadcast?
Very definitely.
And so what does that cut
As a
off?
matter of fact, when I got here, it was, let's back up for a second, on an AM broadcast, it's 10 kilohertz. 10, and you go up to 10.
Right.
Which is quite high. Quite frankly, I can't hear past 10 or 12 now, especially. But when I got here, it was 5 kilohertz.
Wow.
And in order to keep what they call monkey chat, you ever heard that term? It's where the two stations side by side are colliding on the radio. They brought it on down to 4.5.
Wow.
So they really choked us back. That's all built into these units. It's addressable. These units are addressable for not only HF but AM broadcast. And so by simply coming in with a keyboard, they can address all the parameters.
Near C message curve.
So literally choke it back. But let's face it, shortwave is not classical music. And
Yeah.
it's not bad, frankly, the little Albert. You may not hear a triangle go ding, but 99% of it is completely listening.
Yeah, we had to have the factory rep help us with that because the complexities of that system are, moonshot. They're off the scale. And so we had to work with him in order just to modify the settings, like I said, for the bass, diminish the bass and expand the mid-range and the treble so the listening audience could actually hear it. And then cleaned it up on the Kiwi SDR. It sounded great, but for people who are running a variety of model, shortwave radios with a variety of antennas, it was sounding not good. We were getting a lot of complaints, so.
Do you know what an SDR is?
Yeah, software defined radio.
Thank God, there are people out there got them all over the world. It really revolutionized our ability to see if we're getting into these countries. It was just the art. Wonderful little headphones. We appreciate it. And not all of them are working right. And you never know really what kind of antenna, but if you've got an S9 and plus 10 and 20s In Europe, we've had S9 plus 40s and 50s. And the SDRs that you know, just clean and clear and get there. With a real neat little computer. All right, well, have I bored y'all with tears?
I got one.